Hi, everybody. My name is Anthony Bongiorno. I'm going to be your instructor this semester for English 111 Introduction to College Writing. Welcome to the class and welcome to CSI. I assume most of you guys are new students. So I'm really looking forward to working with you this semester, albeit virtually. Um, I still think that despite the fact that we are learning in this unique mode, we are going to have a great semester, and hopefully all of us come out of this better writers, readers, thinkers, etc. So, what I'm going to do today is just go through the syllabus quickly, or as quickly as I can, and the Blackboard page. So, generally speaking, the first class, if we were in person, would be this sort of. So, we'd just be introducing ourselves and going through the syllabus. So, for this week, I want you to familiarize yourself with the syllabus, familiarize yourself with the course content, with Blackboard, and work on those two assignments that I posted for you that are all about introducing yourselves, both to each other and to me. So I'm not going to read every word of this to you. You can do that on your own, but I am going to point out and go in depth with you on the most important points. Okay, so let's start with this CSI program, CSI writing program mission statement. So, in the College of Staten Island writing program, we promote writing as a rhetorical and collaborative process through which the individual writer interacts with a variety of public and personal worlds. To facilitate this understanding of writing, the CSI writing program encourages close reading, drafting, and revision in response to feedback, inquiry-based explorations, and student self-reflection. As students progress through the writing program, they gain experience making critical choices regarding audience and purpose, as well as composing in digital and non-digital spaces. As a result, student writers at CSI are prepared to enter various contexts and disciplines, recognizing themselves as active producers of discourse capable of engaging in the worlds around them. So all of that is to say that English 111 is the first part of a two-part course, the second part being English 151. And the objective of both courses, 151 building on 111, is to prepare you for college level writing, no matter what major you may be pursuing, no matter what courses you take. Our aim here is to ready you for the demands of writing at the college level in any course. A lot of students that are new think that, they hear English 111 and they think back to high school, especially those of you who are just coming from high school, and usually they think literature. And while I have nothing against literature, I love literature. This is not a literature class. Um, this is a writing course. So almost everything we read will, or if not every single thing we read, will be a nonfiction essay written by a writer, or a group of writers, about various interesting topics and social issues. So we are going to be working on our writing and reading skills, and using our course readings, not only to, allow us to enter into these academic discussions and discourse that are really interesting, but also to use those pieces as models for our own writing. So that's the plan. And I'm going to move on now to the course description specifically. So English 111 is an introductory course designed to help you transition to college level writing. Throughout the semester, you'll engage in writing that is both personal and public. You'll be given opportunities to express your own ideas and to put these perspectives in conversation with others' ideas to enrich your own thinking and that of others. Additionally, this course presents a process-based approach to writing. This means that each assignment will go through a drafting process, each draft being revised and refined in response to your changing ideas and peer and instructor feedback. As a result of participating in the drafting process along with being an active contributor to class discussions and activities, you will become stronger, more critical writers, readers, and thinkers. So the one point that I really want to hit on from that paragraph, or that I really want to touch on, is this idea of writing as a process. So throughout the English 111 and English 151 courses, we really place an emphasis on writing as a process, not a product. So in other words, every single writer worth their salt has an editor. Every single writer who's ever published anything has done multiple drafts. That is the nature of writing. It's the nature of the beast. So rather than having our students sit down and write an essay in 25 minutes based on a prompt that they've never seen before, our focus here is really to make you more tuned into your own writing processes and your own personal style and finding your own writerly voice. And that comes through repetition, and it comes through revision, and it comes through feedback from other writers and from your instructor. So all of the major papers we're going to be writing in this class will go through a drafting stage. So in other words, you're going to be working through multiple drafts of papers for various purposes. And when we get into the papers, I'll explain that in a little bit further detail. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is go down to the section overview, and it's going to this section here. I'll highlight it for you. Yeah, right here. This is going to discuss how the class is going to work, just on a practical level, since we're not meeting, like how it's going to run. So here goes. This section of English 111 will meet entirely online this semester. Learning well online requires students to be highly active learners, ready to go the extra mile to make our online community work. I have structured our work to promote your engagement with the ideas and materials of the course and with your colleagues in this class. Here's how our class will proceed. All assignments and activities will be assigned each Wednesday, to be turned in no later than the following Tuesday evening. The class will function mostly asynchronously, meaning that students will be free to work through the material at their own pace throughout the week. Weekly assignments and activities will primarily include readings, written responses and essay drafts, videos, and discussion boards. Please note that official attendance will be taken via the discussion board. So if I could just pause for a second. Those of you who are coming from high school who probably spent the last quarter of your senior year working online, whether it be through Google Classroom or Schoology or any of the other learning management systems that are out there, you guys are probably working on a daily system. So your teachers probably posted lessons and activities for you, and then they would do the next day. Or maybe you even had to attend synchronous Zoom classes every single day. We're not going to be working like that in this class. This semester, we're going to be working on a week-to-week basis. So since the semester starts on a Wednesday, the entire semester is going to be structured weekly from Wednesday to Tuesday. So every Wednesday, I'm going to give you a folder of activities. So it's going to be videos, short mini lessons, readings, responses, and a discussion board. And you can work at your own pace, although I do suggest you check in every day. But nevertheless, work at your own pace, and everything will be due by 11:59 the following Tuesday. So you'll have a full week to work on your stuff. So that is how the class is going to work practically. So as I said, this is going to be a mostly asynchronous, meaning not all at the same time, experience for us. However, I will be holding 3 synchronous Zoom classes throughout the semester, and I'm going to talk about that now. So, this final paragraph says the course has been structured into 3 units. The first unit is personal narrative, the second unit is deep revision, and the third unit is writing in the public sphere. I will be holding 3 whole class Zoom meetings, one after each unit has been introduced. See dates below in the tentative daily schedule. So we'll go over this when I get to the bottom, but there's a tentative daily schedule attached. And I've put the dates and times for these 3 Zoom sessions that will be held throughout the semester. One towards the beginning, one in the middle, and one toward the end. Attendance for these meetings is not mandatory since this is an asynchronous class. I cannot make you show up, but it is strongly recommended. So please do show up. But anyway, that's that on that. Outside of the 3 synchronous Zoom class meetings, I'll be holding individual and small group conferences via Zoom, telephone, and or email. I'm committed to being as flexible and accommodating as I can in order to help you be successful in this course. And I really mean that. So I'm around. You can find me pretty easily. I don't have much else going on in my life. Let me shoot back up top for a second and show you my office hours. So I have office hours Wednesdays from 6 to 8 p.m. on Zoom. So that means every Wednesday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. I'm going to open up a Zoom room and you can drop in. This is in place of actual office hours where I would just be sitting in my office waiting for students to come conference with me, or ask me a quick question or just chat or say hi or whatever. So we'll be doing that through Zoom every single week, and you can drop in every week. You could drop in only when I ask you to. It's really up to you. Those are my office hours for you guys. So anyway, this is all to say that I'm very accessible, I'm very approachable, I'm very flexible. I understand that we're in an extremely unique situation right now. I've been teaching for about 10 years. My full-time job is as a high school teacher, and I've been teaching at CSI for 3 years now. And in all that time and all the different schools I've taught, I've never experienced anything like what we're experiencing now. This is hopefully a once-in-a-lifetime, event that is hopefully, again, temporary. But anyway, I understand that the world is crazy right now. So if you need anything, whether it be guidance or an extension, or to ask me a quick question or whatever it is, I'm willing to accommodate you as much as I can. All right. So in my particular section of English 111, we are going to be exploring diverse issues involving language. The functions of language, language acquisition, language awareness, written versus spoken language, etc. In order to discover the ways in which our various identities are shaped, expressed, and received, we must contemplate our own relationships with language through a metacognitive lens. Metacognitive meaning thinking about our own thought processes, or thinking about thinking, so to speak. Together, we will work to understand and apply the powers of language and rhetoric to serve our individual purposes. So that's our course theme. English 111 is a requirement for graduation. However, every teacher or instructor is free to choose their own course theme. And this is a theme that I care a lot about, and I think you guys will find very interesting too. This theme of the power of language, and not only what words do we use, but how do we use our words, and how do contexts affect the way we use our words, and how does our language change depending on who we are writing for or who we are speaking with. All of these issues will come up throughout the semester, and it'll help us hopefully think more critically about our own writing, because we're thinking about the power of our own language and rhetorical techniques and rhetorical strategies. So let's move on. The next section is student learning outcomes. I'm not going to read these to you. You can go through these on your own. But basically, these are just like the objectives of the class, like what you should be able to do by the end of the course. Um, and I understand that a lot of you are probably coming in already having done a lot of this from high school or maybe other courses, and some of you maybe not. So we're all at different places probably. So we're gonna work together as much as possible to make all of us a little bit better, including myself. So what I'm going to focus on now is the course textbook. So there is a required textbook, and you do need it. So you can get it through the CSI bookstore. I've ordered a class set. I think they're mailing them physical copies. It's Language Awareness, Readings for College Writers, 12th edition by Esholtz, Rosa, and Clark. I gave you the ISBN number if you want to order it from Amazon or somewhere where you can get it cheaper. I think it's about like $60 or so new, but I encourage you to try to get it used or rent or get a digital copy. I honestly don't care where you get it from as long as you have it. So it could be on a Kindle or on a device. It could be digital. It could be a physical book. It could be something that you rent, borrow from a library if you can find it, whatever. Just make sure you have it because it really is fundamental to your success in this class because we're going to be using it honestly every single week. So that's required. Now, I put here, additionally, students are strongly encouraged to purchase a copy of the Little Seagull Handbook, 3rd edition by Bullock, Brody, and Weinberg. That's not required, but it is recommended. It's a neat little book. It's a writing guide. So it's got lots of helpful tips in there about MLA format and style guidelines, APA format and style guidelines, and Chicago format and style guidelines, which traditionally are used throughout different disciplines. So, for example, if you plan on majoring in one of the sciences or nursing, you're going to be needing to write your papers in APA format, and this little book has basically everything you need to know about APA format in there. If you're going into the humanities or into education or history or English, you're going to want to really know MLA, and this little book has MLA in it too. And Chicago style isn't used as often as it used to be, but it is especially helpful for history courses, although a lot of history courses now use MLA. But anyway, it's in there. There's also lots of helpful tips for citing based on each of the styles, and there are lots of just like rules of thumb for writing, those little grammatical and syntax rules that annoy us, where to put the comma and the apostrophe, etc. It's all in there. So again, it's not required, but I think it's worth the money. I think it's like $20 or something. You can probably get it for cheaper. So it's the Little Seagull Handbook. I really like that one. All right, so I'm going to move on because I'm already talking more than I wanted to. Okay, so let's talk about our assignments. Okay, in this class, you will complete 3 formal writing assignments. Together, these assignments are designed to engage you in the critical reading, writing, and analytical practices that mark academic and public intellectual work. They are sequenced to challenge you, with each assignment building on the writing knowledge and ideas developed in the previous. You will move from exploring the rhetorical power of personal experience as evidence and illustration to connecting your ideas with those of others to create new insights to exploring how writers locate themselves in larger textual conversations in the world. In a sense, you might consider this writing yourself into the public conversation. Along the way, we will discuss the ethics of writing and of source use, considering how we think with and use other writers well and artfully in our own writing. So there are 3 major writing assignments that go along with the 3 units. So those make up the bulk of your grade. In addition to that, there will be lots of we call them low stakes, meaning they're not worth as much as the larger projects and papers. Low stakes writing assignments, like weekly journals, and discussion boards. We'll get there, but basically the entire course is kind of structured around these 3 units. So let's go through those units now. Okay, so we have the personal narrative. That is the first unit and paper. By the end of that unit, you will be producing a 3 to 5 page, double spaced, so don't panic, paper that is solely based on a personal experience. So we're starting with personal writing. I'm going to leave it at that. When I actually assign these projects, I'll give you more details and I'll give you assignment sheets. But this is just a preview. But we're starting with personal narrative, and our first major project is a 3 to 5 double-spaced page paper. And then we go into the second, and this is like the meatiest unit, and it's the longest paper, and it's worth the most. The deep expansion, or it's called the deep revision, but it's really more of an expansion. So that is where you take your first paper and then you expand it to include a little bit of research and some other writers' words and thoughts. And the emphasis here is on, the bridge between personal writing and public, more formal writing and citing sources. So that is the second project. It's taking that first paper and not just adding a paragraph or two, really rewriting it, expanding it, and turning it into something different that's based on the first paper. So that's 5 to 6 double-spaced pages. And then the last unit and project, again, you guys have this syllabus, so you can look through this and read all of this stuff on your own. The final unit and project is writing in the public sphere. So this is where the course ends. This is the last unit. So we go from personal writing to writing personally, but including some other voices and some other opinions and some outside research, to writing in the public sphere, which is basically writing to affect change, or writing almost like as an activist, where you're not just writing for me or for your classmates, you're writing for the public. So this does not have a page limit because this isn't necessarily a traditional paper. So you're going to have some flexibility in how you choose to write this last project. So instead of a page count, we only have a word count here. So it's at least 1,000 to 1,250 words. And the reason why there's no page count is because it could be, depending on what you want to do with this project when we get to it, it could be a blog, it could be a website, it could be a wiki, it could be a magazine. You have lots of options here. So that's the final piece to the puzzle here for the 3 major projects. And then we have writer's notebook and discussion board. So I'll just read to you what it says here. The writer's notebook is a space for weekly writing that will only be viewed by the instructor and the student. Weekly writer's book assignments will include journal responses, drafts, and other low-stakes exercises. So the writer's notebook is where you're going to be doing a lot of like the classwork, the week-to-week classwork, where you're going to be working through ideas, practicing your writing fluency, practicing rhetorical strategies. I want you to think of it literally like a notebook. So like, pretend that this is your notebook and I'm collecting it every week and giving you comments and handing it back to you. And it's just going to be like a journal that goes back and forth between us. Of course, this is all virtual and digital, but that's how I want you to think of it. It's only for you and me. So it's totally private. It's like an interactive journal. And then the other piece of the weekly classwork is the discussion board. So that's not private, that's public. And that is in place of our class discussion. So normally when we would have this class in person, the class time would be mostly devoted to discussion. So the discussion board is a space for that. It's where we can, where I hope we can replicate like our in-class discussions about the readings and the topics of the weeks and the units. So it's a space for the free exchange of ideas between classmates and their instructor. It's also a good place to practice academic discourse. So, in other words, accountable talk, having intelligent college level conversations on big ideas. So that's the writer's notebook and the discussion board. So let's get to everybody's favorite part, which is where am I going to get my grade from? So this is how I'm going to grade you. All right, so you should see here grading is broken up by the unit and the project associated with that unit. So the first unit, the personal narrative and the 3 to 5 page paper, that grade is going to be worth 20% of your final grade. The second paper, the deep revision, is worth the most, and it is the longest, and it requires it's probably the most time intensive, I guess, or time consuming, although that sounds kind of negative. It's worth 25% of your final grade. And then the third unit and project is writing in the public sphere is worth another 20%. And then there's the writer's notebook and the discussion board. The writer's notebook is worth 25%, and the discussion board is worth 10%. So what's good about this grading breakdown, I think, is that the writer's notebook and the discussion board, which is basically your classwork, is worth 35% of your final grade. So it's a good chunk of it. So as long as you're staying on top of your work and you get everything done, and you're showing real effort, you'll be fine grade-wise. I'm not looking to be a bad guy here. This is all about growth. So that's why I gave so much worth to the low-stakes weekly stuff. So let me, now that I just said I don't want to be the bad guy, talk about two things that are what you're going to want to avoid if you want to pass. So I have to tell you this. We take attendance. So attendance is a strict policy of the writing program. You have to be there, right, to learn. And now we're virtual. So obviously, I can't know where you are every second of the day, and I don't want to know. So the discussion board is going to count as your attendance in addition to being 10% of your grade. So you got to do the discussion board because you should do this. You should do it because you're going to learn from it and because you'll be able to interact with your peers about interesting topics. But also your attendance is being taken there. So if a week goes by and you don't do the discussion board on time, I have to mark you absent for that week. And per the writing program policy, if you are absent for 3 weeks, so that's you missed 3 discussion boards, you're going to earn what's called a WU, and that's short for unofficial withdrawal. And you definitely don't want that. A WU could affect your financial aid and your ability to complete a class. So unfortunately, what will happen is if you miss too many classes, I'll send you an email saying, unfortunately, I can't give you a passing grade. You have to take a WU, which again is basically just like a withdrawal, but not because you withdrew, but because you didn't show up. So WUs basically indicate that you need to retake the class. So you don't want to get a WU, okay? And eventually WUs factor in as Fs. So again, make sure you're on time, and you're getting your discussion board in on time by that deadline. And now I also have to say, and this is important, and this is why it's in bold letters and underlined. Students must complete all formal required assignments in order to pass English 111. So English 111, like I said earlier, is a requirement for graduation. You need to do all of the major projects, or else I cannot pass you. At best, you could possibly get an incomplete, and then you'd have to make up the work later. But sometimes those aren't granted. So it's all based on circumstance. So unfortunately, I have had situations in the past where students have come to every class, they've participated in discussion, they've done great things, but then all of a sudden they just fell off the face of the earth, and they didn't hand in their final paper. So that final paper needs to be handed in. Every paper needs to be handed in, or else you can't pass. Okay, so just please know that. All right, so let me move on. Course policies. You can go through these on your own. I just talked about attendance. Tardiness. I mean, there's not, normally if we were in person, tardiness is like walking in 15 to 20 minutes late with sometimes with Starbucks in your hand, talking about how you couldn't find a parking spot. And that's something we're not going to have to deal with online, so that's good. So I don't want to really spend too much time on that. All right, let's talk about academic integrity and plagiarism. Okay, so I don't want to spend too much time on this, but it is important that you read this and that you understand the gravity of the situation if you are to plagiarize one of your papers. So that means passing off somebody else's work as your own, or copying and pasting from a website without properly citing it, and trying to pass it off as your own writing, or paying someone else to do your paper, or anything else that you could think of that's cheating. You will receive a grade of F on the project without the ability to make it up. In addition, I will have to report you to the director of the CSI writing program, and then it says the instructor will complete the plagiarism reporting form and leave it in the writing program director's mailbox in the English department. The writing program director will review the document to decide how to proceed. Please don't make me do all that paperwork. And in all seriousness, you could be dismissed. You could fail the class and be dismissed from the college if the college has documentation of a pattern of plagiarism or cheating on your part. So it's really not worth it. Trust me when I tell you I have a growth mindset when it comes to education. I'm all about, getting better with time and practice. So I want to see your writing. I don't need you to get yourself into potential trouble by plagiarizing because you want to impress me or because you want to get an A. You're not going to get an A if you plagiarize. You're going to get an F. So trust me, you will be way better off just committing yourself to the writing process and following my lead and the feedback that I give you, and going from there. And then you won't have to worry about plagiarizing anymore because your writing will be better, hopefully. All right, so that's all of that. Let me talk to you really quickly about student resources, because these are really helpful. As a student in the CSI writing program, you could take advantage of a wide range of services designed to help support your writing. So we have the CSI Writing Center, which is a really, really, really great resource. Seriously, it is available to provide free writing tutoring and consultation. I can't tell you how great this is. You go there. I mean, campus is closed right now, so this will all be done digitally. But when campus hopefully reopens, you'll be able to go there in person and they have drop-in hours, or you can make an appointment and you sit down with a student tutor who will help you with your paper if you're having trouble. It's really great. So for more information, visit their website, which is written out there, or call them and find out, get the tea, as the kids say, about what they're offering over Zoom or whatever. Okay. So let me read you this next part. The Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA for short, is a federal anti-discrimination statute that provides comprehensive civil rights protection for persons with disabilities. Among other things, this legislation requires that all students with disabilities be guaranteed a learning environment that provides for reasonable accommodation of their disabilities. If you believe that you have a disability requiring an accommodation, please contact the Center for Student Accessibility at 718-982-2510 or csa@csi.cuny.edu. You can also visit the center in 1P 101. So obviously right now campus is closed, but when campus reopens, they're located in 1P, which is the big, one of the big center buildings, room 101. You could also check out the website at csi.cuny.edu/CSA/. So that's really great. If you need that, please take advantage of it. And the CSI Library website will probably be using this throughout the semester a little bit. You'll definitely be using the CSI Library a lot when you get to English 151. So it's www.library.csi.cuny.edu. Okay, I'm almost finished torturing you for today, but let me scroll down and show you that there is a tentative daily assignment schedule attached to the syllabus. And this is basically a calendar of what we're going to be doing each week. Now, the word tentative is there because things change every semester. I mean, last semester, we weren't expecting a once-in-a-century pandemic to shut us down and make us go virtual within a week. So, obviously, things changed. And things will continue to change. Hopefully not that dramatically, but anyway. So this is just an idea for you of what we're going to be doing when. And I've given you the readings for each week and the pages in the textbook, and obviously like activities posted on Blackboard each week. And the Zoom sessions that I told you are really strongly encouraged to attend. The first one on Wednesday, September 9th. You'll see, depending on the section you're in of mine, because I'm teaching 2 sections this semester, what the time is. Depending on your section, your time might be 4:30 to 5 or 5 to 5:30. But the first one is Wednesday, September 9th. I have on here the dates for when the major projects are due. And Zoom session number 2, Wednesday, October 14th. And then, let's see, we get to Unit 3 around November. Zoom session 3, November 18th. Then we break for a week for Thanksgiving. And then we have our last couple of weeks. And then that's it. So it looks so simple when you look at this, but there's going to be a lot that's going to be going on in these weeks. So anyway, if I need to update this, which I'm sure I will need to update at least something, I will give you a new tentative daily assignment schedule. So whenever, hopefully not, but if I have to change something on here, you will get a new version on your Blackboard that you can keep and refer to. So let me just quickly show you my Blackboard page. So this is for one of my sections. So I've entered into student preview mode. So this should look a lot like what you're going to see when you log onto Blackboard. I know a lot of you have never used Blackboard before. And I have to be honest with you, it's not, for those of you who have used Google Classroom, it's not as user-friendly as Google Classroom, just to be totally honest. But it does have a lot of really great features. And once you get used to it, Blackboard is actually really cool. So this is what the homepage looks like. The homepage of my class. So you'll log in, and I have the most recent announcements will pop up on the announcements page. Obviously, this is just my welcome announcements where I introduce myself. And then on the left here, we have the important tabs that you're going to need. So right now we're on announcements. The next tab down is information. Oh boy. Now I have to log in again. Hold on. Sorry. Okay. So this is the information tab. So I have my office hour and contact info. That's my email address, anthony.bongiorno@csi.cuny.edu. Please note that you guys in your CSI emails, you have cix.csi.cuny.edu, but we don't. So I can't tell you every semester how many students send me emails that I never get because they send it to anthony.bongiorno@cix.csi.cuny.edu, which when I was a grad student at CSI, that was my email address. So it still goes somewhere. I don't know what the password is for that. That was years ago. But if you want to contact me now as your instructor, it's just anthony.bongiorno@csi.cuny.edu. Again, my office hour will be held every Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. on Zoom. I gave you the Zoom link here, right here. I have the textbook information here. Again, it's $62.43 new, but you can probably find it somewhere for cheaper, or at least the digital version is cheaper. And then I have the course syllabus here with specific to the section. And then we have weekly lessons here. So this is week 1. Open this folder to see all of your assignments and activities for week 1. All work is due by 11:59 p.m. on Tuesday, September 1st. And if you open up week 1, we have here a little welcome message, picture of me with my about me, looking pretty handsome if I do say so myself. Getting to know Blackboard, the course syllabus, and then your 2 assignments for the week, which are all about introductions. So your discussion board is where you're going to introduce yourself to your classmates. And then your writer's notebook week 1 assignment is going to be about introducing yourself to me. And when you click on each one of these things, you get more of an idea of what you need to do, because it'll bring you directly to the assignment. Okay, so you'll click it. For example, this is Writer's Notebook Week 1. And what I'm going to want you to do here is write me a brief letter of introduction. And all the instructions are here. And then when I give you a grade, your grade will go here, and any comments will go over here. So it's pretty neatly laid out. And if you need to just get to the discussion board or the Writer's Notebook directly, you could click on those tabs on the left. Check my grades is also on the left, so any grades that I give you will pop up right here, so you can get a sense of how you're doing. And then frequently asked questions. So frequently asked questions about learning online, and about Blackboard. Okay, so that is, I think, everything for now. So again, I look forward to working with you guys throughout the semester. And I'm sorry, let me show you one last thing before you go. If you have a question for me about the class that isn't private or personal, I'd love for you to post it here. I'm going to ask you to please post it here in the Q&A section. So this is like the area where, so think about like when you're in class traditionally and you're all sitting there in person, and the teacher or the instructor is giving you details about an assignment or something, and you have a question that is a question that other people may be thinking too, like one of those questions where when you ask it, 10 other people's hands go down because they were also thinking the same question. Post that here, so that way I can answer it publicly, and so everybody can see your question, everybody can see my answer, and anyone else who has the same question you had will be able to see my answer, so that I won't have to answer individual emails for this, the same question 50 times. So if you send me an email that's not personal about the class, I may write back and just say, please, thank you for your question. Please post that in the Q&A. And then that's where you'll find the Q&As here on the discussion board. Okay. Obviously, if it's personal or private, email me separately, and don't post that here. Use your judgment. All right. So that's it. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble. And enjoy your week. Bye.